They thought it was just one night of fun, skipping school for the hottest nightclub in town. But inside the blue shrine, they didn't find music. They found ancient spirits waiting for a sacrifice. What happened next? No one could have imagined. In the sweltering heart of Lagos, where the scent of roasted plantains and grilled suya danced through busy streets, 3 teenagers sat behind their school building, plotting the night that would change everything. Amaka, the wild firebrand with red braids and a smile that could melt concrete, leaned against the cracked wall. She twirled her pen as though it were a cigarette, eyes darting between her 2 closest friends. Obinna, the silent thinker with a sharp mind hidden behind sleepy eyes, and Saad, the preacher's daughter with secrets deeper than the ocean. "Tonight is the night," Amaka whispered, excitement rippling through her voice like electricity. "No more boring lectures. No more school uniforms. Tonight we're queens and kings." Obinna adjusted his collar, skeptical. "Are you sure this is a good idea? My uncle told me that club, the Blue Shrine, it's not a normal place. Strange things happen there." Saad rolled her eyes. "That's village talk, Obi. Ghosts, curses, people disappearing. It's all nonsense to keep us scared. Look, I need this. I'm tired of pretending to be something I'm not." Amaka nodded. "We've spent enough time being what our parents wanted. Let's taste life. Real life. Just once." So, that evening, instead of walking home after school, they slipped away. The city turned orange and gold under the setting sun as they navigated alleys and shortcuts, trading the smell of chalk and books for perfume and sweat. They changed in the back of a market stall, slipping into clothes that screamed rebellion, ripped jeans, glitter tops, and shoes they had borrowed and begged for. The night swallowed them whole as they reached the Blue Shrine, an infamous nightclub tucked into the corner of an old colonial warehouse by the lagoon. Neon lights flickered like spirits dancing above the entrance. A bouncer with glowing eyes let them in without a word, just a knowing smirk that made Obinna's stomach twist. Inside, it was chaos wrapped in seduction. Red lights pulsed with the beat of Afro house music. Bodies moved like waves, hands in the air, eyes half closed in bliss or something darker. The scent of incense mixed with alcohol, heavy and intoxicating. Saad was the first to disappear into the crowd. Amaka followed, laughing as if she owned the night. Obinna hesitated. There was something strange in the air, a heaviness. But he followed too. He always did. They danced. Oh, how they danced. Time slipped away. One song turned into 10. One drink turned into a haze. Amaka met a man in a white kaftan with gold eyes. He didn't speak, but he held her hand like he'd known her forever. Saad found herself pulled to the VIP lounge, where the music was quieter, and a woman with dreadlocks like ropes of fire whispered stories of freedom into her ears. Obinna tried to keep track of his friends, but the crowd became a blur, and then they were gone. Suddenly the music stopped. The room fell silent. Every dancer froze. Then a deep voice boomed, not from speakers, but from the air itself. "Those who dance in the house of forgotten gods must pay the price." Binna blinked. The lights flickered. The club looked different. The red walls had turned dark like burnt wood. The chandeliers now dripped what looked like blood. The DJ booth stood empty, and the crowd, they weren't dancing anymore. They were staring. All eyes on him. "Amaka," he called out, voice trembling. No answer. "Saad." A soft laugh echoed, but it was not hers. It was older, ancient. He turned to run, but the door had vanished. Only a mirror stood where the entrance once was. And in the reflection, he didn't see himself. He saw a boy with hollow eyes, screaming silently behind the glass. Before the chaos, before the club, before the curse, there were signs. Warnings disguised as coincidences. That morning, Saad had found a feather under her pillow, not from a bird, but pitch black with a gold tip, warm to the touch. Her grandmother had once told her that when spirits call your name, they send feathers first. She had laughed it off. Amaka had noticed the moon in the daytime sky, round and red. "Blood moons too early," her little brother had mumbled. That means someone's going to dance with the dead. And Obinna. He had dreamed of his late mother for the first time in years. In the dream she had reached out to him, whispering in Igbo, "Don't go where the gods still dance." He had woken up with tears in his eyes. But they ignored it all. That's how most stories begin, isn't it? Not with evil but with arrogance. Obinna backed away from the mirror. The music returned, but it wasn't music anymore. It was chanting. In a language older than Yoruba, older than the city, older than memory itself. And then he saw Amaka. She stood at the center of the dance floor, eyes closed, arms stretched like she was offering herself to the sky. The man in the white kaftan stood behind her, whispering into her ear. "Amaka!" Obinna screamed, rushing toward her. But before he could reach her, hands grabbed his ankles. The floor had turned to sand, and from it, shadowy arms reached out. Dozens of them. Pulling, grabbing, whispering. "You left your path. You abandoned your calling. Now the gods want their dance." Obinna kicked, screamed, fought. And then a voice cut through the madness. It was Sod. But not Sod as he knew her. Her eyes were golden. Her skin glowed faintly like moonlight on water. She held a staff made of bone and light. "Enough," she said, her voice echoing with command. "He is not ready. Release him." The arms paused. Then retreated. Obinna collapsed, panting. "Sod. What's happening?" She looked down at him, sad and powerful all at once. "We broke something, Obinna. The Blue Shrine. It isn't just a club. It's a place where the veil between our world and the old world is thin. The gods we forgot still wait there. And now they're awake." He stared at her. "What gods? Why would they want us?" Sada's lips trembled. "Because we abandoned who we were meant to be. We mocked tradition. And they've been watching. Waiting." A loud scream rang out. It was Amaka. Her body was rising off the floor, the man in white chanting louder now, eyes rolling back. "She's the one they want first," Sod whispered. "But we still have time. Maybe." Obinna grabbed her hand. "Then let's bring her back." The blue shrine pulsed with ancient energy, and the gods danced in circles unseen. The three teenagers, once rebels of routine, now found themselves pawns in something far bigger than skipping school. And the price of rebellion. It was yet to be paid in full. Sod held the bone and light staff tightly, her jaw clenched. Obinna followed her through a shadowy hallway that hadn't been there before. The club no longer throbbed with music. Now it breathed like a living thing. The air pulsed with the rhythm of old drums, not played by hands, but by hearts long buried. As they moved, faces appeared in the walls, whispering, crying, laughing. These weren't decorations. These were people. Or what was left of them. Dancers who had vanished. Partygoers who had never returned. "What is this place?" Obinna asked, voice barely above a whisper. Sod turned, her golden eyes dimmer now. "They call it the spirit market. It's where forgotten souls are traded. Joy for beauty, memory for music, freedom for power. And Amaka." Obinna swallowed hard. "They're trying to trade her." "No," Sod said bitterly. "They're trying to keep her." They turned a corner and entered a vast chamber. Floating above a black pool was Amaka, suspended by golden threads attached to the ceiling like puppet strings. The man in the white kaftan stood below her, eyes closed, chanting in a language Obinna couldn't recognize. Around him were beings. Not quite human, not quite beast. One had the head of a goat but feet that glided over the ground. Another wore a wedding dress soaked in blood. Her face nothing but smoke. They were not of this world, but they were watching. Waiting. The offer. "We can't just charge in," Obinna whispered. "They'll destroy us." "No," Sod said. "They want a trade. That's how it works here. A trade. Something of equal value to what they're taking. Maka's youth. Her fire. Her rebellion. To take her back, we need to offer something they want more." Obinna's heart pounded. "Like what?" Sod looked at him with tears in her glowing eyes. Me? He shook his head. No, no way. We came here together, we leave together. I've always known there was something inside me, something old. The staff, the visions, the dreams. I'm connected to this world. Maybe I was never meant to stay in yours. Obinna stepped closer, grabbing her wrist. You don't owe them anything. We made a mistake, but we fight, not give in. Suddenly, the man in white opened his eyes. Everything stopped, even the air. He stepped forward, his voice like the echo of 1,000 storms. A choice. One soul for another. Or we keep both. Obinna stepped forward. Then take me. A gasp. Obi. But Obinna's voice was steady now. I don't have a glowing staff. I'm not special. But Amaka is. You're more than any of us. Let me pay the price. The spirits murmured, debating silently in a language only they could understand. Then the man in white turned to Sod. You carry ancient light. Does not belong here. We cannot keep what was never offered. But he turned to Obinna. He is willing. He is ripe. The quiet ones always taste sweetest. The threads above Amaka snapped. She fell into Sodda's waiting arms. Obinna screamed as the ground beneath him cracked, a blue fire consuming him from the feet up. He didn't burn. He changed. His skin shimmered, his body stiffened, and his eyes filled with stars. Amaka gasped as if surfacing from deep water. She looked around wildly. Where are we? What happened? My body, it feels light. You were taken, Sod said gently, helping her stand. You danced too deep. Amaka looked at the swirling spirits, at the still-burning pool, and then at Obinna, or what he had become. No, she whispered. Not him. Not Obi. He offered himself. Then take me instead, she cried. But the man in white shook his head. A trade once accepted cannot be undone. Sod stepped forward. There is one way. The spirits turned toward her. If a soul breaks the cycle, if he remembers who he truly is, he can return. But it must be his choice, the man said. And the price, he will carry our mark forever. Amaka didn't wait. She ran to Obinna, knelt before him and cupped his face. Obi, it's me. Please, come back. Remember those afternoons by the river. The stories you told me. Remember your mother's song. You used to hum it when you were nervous. She began to sing, softly, trembling. O river, take me slow. Let my feet find their ground. O sun, shine gentle on my soul. Binna blinked. His lips trembled. A tear, real human, slid down his cheek. I remember, he whispered. The fire vanished. The stars in his eyes faded. He fell into Amaka's arms. And the spirits for the first time clapped. Not with hands but with sound and light. Storm of energy. And then silence. The club shattered around them like glass. They awoke on the edge of the lagoon, barefoot and soaked in sweat. The sun was rising. Birds sang. The smell of fish and morning stew drifted across the water. The blue shrine was gone. In its place was an empty lot, overgrown with grass and broken bricks. Amaka sat up slowly. Her red braids were streaked with white. Sodda's staff was gone, but her eyes still shimmered faintly. Obinna lay still, breathing like someone who had been pulled back from the brink. None of them spoke for a long time. Then Amaka said, We were fools. Sod nodded. But we're alive. Obinna smiled weakly. Mostly. They walked home in silence, hand in hand. Amaka enrolled in university. She studied literature and started writing stories. African tales, real and surreal. Her first book was titled, The Shrine of Shadows. Sod joined a cultural preservation group. She traveled across West Africa, collecting old myths, songs, and oral histories. She became known as a spiritual voice of the youth. Obinna. He never quite returned to who he was. Some days, he'd stare at the sky and whisper in a language no one could understand. But he smiled more now. He volunteered at a children's home and told stories. Magical ones, that made kids dream with their eyes open. And sometimes, when the moon was full and music drifted across the city, they'd meet by the lagoon. They never spoke of the blue shrine again. But they all remembered the dance with the forgotten gods. And they never ever skipped school for a nightclub again. Moral of the tale: not every rhythm is meant for your feet. Some dances are better left unseen. Listen to the whispers before they become screams.